All right, so how not to overwork yourself. So that's the topic of today's video and podcast. So we're going to share some tips for how not to overwork yourself. And that's going to be based on our experiences of overworking ourselves. So it's coming straight from the real experience. And we're going to share that with you. And hopefully after watching this video or listening to this, you are going to have better and productive work environment for yourself. Generally, your days are going to be more fun and you're not going to overwork yourself. So hopefully this is going to be useful for you, the dear viewer. Today with me, Lailama Hasan from Helium 10. And she's also a professional photographer. She did a lot of photography for Amazon listings and she has a lot of experience in the Amazon sphere, which is pretty cool, I think. We also had another video with Lailama, which we'll link in the description. It was an overview of Helium 10 in the Urdu language. So Lailama, can you introduce yourself, please, to us?
Hi, Vova. Thank you for having me. So a little about myself. I am currently working at Helium 10 as a brand evangelist, and my specialty is listing optimization. But I have also worked on a lot of listings in the past where I've created image plans as a photographer, but also as a listing optimization expert. So kind of seeing the front end and the back end of how to create a listing. Yeah, that's a little bit of background on me.
It's great to have you here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So you have experience on Amazon, you have experience in listing optimization, you have experience in photography, which is pretty cool, and you have experience in overworking yourself, I think, like me.
Yes.
I think many of the listeners, maybe someone's going to say, well, I'm not overworking myself, and that's pretty cool. Would be glad to hear comments about how you're able to do that. But,
yeah. A lot of people might be able to relate,
and yeah, that's because that's interesting. We have moved to work. I mean, for those who are working on computers, obviously not all of us are like that, but many of the listeners are e-commerce entrepreneurs, private label Amazon sellers, and yeah, we have our computers and we can just stay like this all day long, which is fun, but still sometimes we overwork. But what is overworking for you? What do you think?
I actually want to start off by just mentioning this meme that I once saw, and it said, I am not about the 9-to-5 life, and I'm quitting my 9-to-5 so that I can now work for myself 24 hours a day.
Hours, yeah.
So, we've got, like you said, we've got our laptops at home. We're working from home, working for ourselves. So, we don't realize where to put like that time limit on ourselves. And for me, overworking is just like working throughout the day to not make time. You're not able to clock out of work and you're not able to have like a social life after work or not be able to do anything after work. Whereas, yes, 9-to-5 can be tough, but you clock out of work, you come back home and you have the rest of the day to yourself. So, even if we don't have our laptops, I think we're always physically, like mentally thinking about the next step or the next strategy for what we're going to do for ourselves. Because honestly speaking, like I was working as a freelancer and, you're kind of your own boss, which means you have to be your own manager. You have to set your own schedule. You're also like the employee and, a lot of things to take care of. So that to me is a little bit of overworking when you're not clocking out mentally and physically out of work.
Yeah, I hear you. And you mean like we're always, but by saying we, by the way, you mean like people who don't work a 9-to-5, right? Those who are already in the stage that they have their own gig.
Yeah,
right?
Thank you for making that clarification. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's pretty cool. I understand. Many people who are watching, maybe some are still working a 9-to-5 and are trying a side hustle, but some or many are just doing their Amazon FBA or some other things. And we don't know or we can learn how to clock out. Clock out means like, let's say we just stop as in a 9-to-5, we finish our day in 5, and same as an entrepreneur. We can finish in 5 or 6 or 7, but how do we do that? Because I think many people who can relate, they or who will relate or can relate, can I say that? Working until early hours of the night, until the morning, like depends on the stage of the hustle. Sometimes when I didn't have money, like on very hard stages, when I wasn't working anymore and I had to bring money from my business or businesses, I remember it's crazy and fun times, but it wasn't as fun maybe in the moment. I just felt exhausted at times. I felt like not good mentally, physically. So how do you think we can understand that we're overworking ourselves? And then how can we maybe do something about it?
I can completely relate because when I was working freelance, I'm a bit of a night owl, right? So for me, waking up in the morning is super hard. But when you don't have your schedule, you don't have to abide by anything. You're pretty much making it yourself. So I guess just establishing the number of hours you want to work in a day and treating it just like any other work. Okay, this is the time that I start work every day. Setting a schedule really helps. And then make a calendar, put in these goals, monthly goals, weekly goals. How do you break it down into a daily goal? And then putting it into your calendar. This hour I'll be working on so and so. Maybe that hour I'm working on sourcing, like, whatever that may look like to you. And just following those particular hours of the day and keeping it set, because when you don't have a schedule, you can either work way less and be way less productive, or just end up working the entire day. And sometimes those hours aren't exactly productive. You are tired and you're working the entire day, but without these goals being set, you're not clear about where you're getting, and that can lead to that anxiety around work. Like, okay, have I done enough? So
you're saying like putting a schedule. If you're an entrepreneur, okay, I wake up in, maybe if you can allow yourself, wake up late, or depends on the situation. You wake up, let's say in whatever hour, let's say 11 a.m., which is pretty cool. I like waking up later as well. I just enjoy it, and I prefer working late. But yeah, so that's me. But then it depends on each person, and then you just make the schedule. Let's say, all right, so I'm gonna wake up in 10, let's say, or something like that. I start work in 11, and then 11 until 12 I start product research. In 12 I do a little break, 15-minute break, to just maybe whatever, just maybe go around the house, go out, whatever, 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, depends. Like, you make the schedule, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe 2 hours of product development or talking to people on Alibaba. And then in this way, it's going to be, why do you think it's good though to make this schedule? Because
I think it's also like, sometimes we think we're working, but we just go into this rabbit hole of random things and we don't end up achieving anything at the end of the day. So, put in the goal and then just check off that goal, because if you have a daily goal that leads to a weekly goal that leads to a monthly goal, by the end of the month you're done with that particular thing. And it's interesting when you talk about like the timings of the day, because when I was working with that agency, actually I worked with listing optimization agency, which was my brother's company, and that was very interesting for me because we had operations here in Canada but also back home in Pakistan. So I had to like communicate with the employees there and here. So I had to like split up my day. That's also one of the ways to do it, like later hours of the day, so that it's their morning time. It's like a 12-hour difference. So it was a little insane, but I said, okay, maybe like 4 to 5 hours I'm online at night so that I can communicate with the employees back home. And then maybe in the morning time or afternoon, I'm online so that I can work and collaborate with the employees here. So that was also like an interesting and very different way of dealing with it. And personally, I love that for myself because I need to break down my work schedule into chunks. It just makes it a lot easier for me. So, there's no one way to do it, but yeah.
So specific times for specific tasks. And then once the time finishes, you finish the task. Yeah. So not necessarily that you finish the task, you finish working on the task. And then,
yes.
And I found that really productive for myself. Let's say 1 hour product research, then the next hour comes, and then it's, let's say, working on my YouTube channel. And I switch, even though I didn't finish. However, the hour I put only in YouTube, but not in YouTube answering an email, then quickly remembering that I didn't answer someone in LinkedIn, giving them a message. Yeah. And I'm still doing that, honestly. And I'm sometimes catching myself in that, still working on that. You got to be, in my opinion, first aware of the problem. And because I think it makes your brain go crazy a little bit. Maybe you don't even understand that you're doing so many things. It's so easy to go on LinkedIn to answer a message, on Amazon, quickly remember that you didn't add a coupon to your listing. And then, I have to, like.
I was going to get to that. I'm like, because you're like pretty successful seller yourself. Like, how do you deal with it? Just so zoning out and just focusing on that one task. Like, it's also a good way to go about it. But how does your day look like? Like, I'm sure that's pretty hectic too. But there's so many things that you cover. You're selling, but you're also an influencer. So like, I think that would also be very interesting, like for me to know, like, how do you go about scheduling your day?
Yeah, so I'll get to that now. And also, I want to go back a step before I answer a question to give a little tip for people who want to not overwork themselves. So for me, what helped me is I even have it on my kind of, how you call that, like a board there. It says electric devices off at 9 p.m. So no
Oh,
matter
wow.
what, and I still honestly have sinned by still doing something, because sometimes something is, I see it as something that I got to do, but most of the days I actually unplug at 9 p.m. And that really helped me by writing it down and looking at that,
Yeah.
because it's all right. We have time. We have our whole lives. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's,
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe this entrepreneurial community sometimes is about running and achieving, and everybody's doing. I understand. But from what I found, again, for the long run, you don't want to exhaust yourself. So then that helped me by unplugging at some specific hour. It can be 7 p.m. for you, like you choose. I think, but if it's
Yeah.
too late, it's hard to fall asleep. Sleep is
That's
also a problem if you are not sleeping well. I would recommend a book, what's called Sleep Smarter, I think. 21 Tips for Sleeping, something like that. Very nice book. One of them was like, even if you go to sleep early, but you have been looking into screens a few hours before your sleep, your sleep is still not going to be that good. And
That's
also
true. Yeah.
depends on the hours of the sleep. So there's like the money time of sleep was, I think he mentioned between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. based on evolutionary, like based on people just living for millions of years. And maybe I'm wrong here, maybe hundreds of thousands of years. I'm not sure exactly when the first humans appeared, but like, I'm saying that like it's good to sleep at that time, because people used to go to sleep early for a long time, and here the light appeared, computers appeared, and we're changing our physiological things, and it's not as
Yeah.
good. So this, and also I wanted to say that having your workplace maybe somewhere you can not see it. So let's say for me it's in my living room, but I sleep in my room over there, somewhere there. It's hard to point because it's
Yeah.
anyhow. And then I don't see my computer there. But sometimes when I'm sitting here on the couch, I can see my computer, and that's not as good because it's just calling. It's like, you gotta answer that message, or
Yeah,
something.
just one message, and that's what leads
And
you into.
and then you get into the rabbit hole of another hour. Okay, so I already answered the message. Let's see the sales on Amazon. Oh, is that the listing is, oh, there's a. So I wanted to mention to add that, and I want to now get back to your question. How do I like my schedule? Usually in 7 a.m. early, I get on a call with my business partner who lives in Thailand. I'm located now in Israel. Actually, soon I'm going there too, to Thailand. But we get on a call to do Amazon for, it depends, like 3 hours. So we just discuss stuff like product development or what problems are we having on the listing. Sometimes we just chat. I would say that what helped is if we come with a specific goal for this call. Like if we just chat, we can just, just, it's my good friend, so we can just remember memories and laugh, and it's okay. But if we come, okay,
Yeah.
today we got to work on our mini chat flows, or today we're going to work on our photography, and then we invest time in that, and that's really productive because we're like 2-3 hours deep work on one thing, get a lot of stuff done. And then I rest a little after this call. I eat breakfast, I energize myself. Also, good breakfast is important from what I've seen. Like I tend not to, like I eat a lot of protein in the morning, but rather not many carbs. So like I wouldn't eat something sweet, not good in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also not good for cutting if you want to get more shredded. As a girl or as a guy, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I feel
I
like
resonate.
you
Like
understand?
high protein and high fat diet just
Yes.
worked best for me,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would recommend. Again, everyone is different and people might do this or that, but like a good meal to start the day. I like to drink then coffee. I can then paint a little bit. I'm painting, or I can listen
Wow, I
to.
didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I paint. I'll actually show it now, but
Also an artist.
a
Okay,
little
we
bit,
know
yeah.
something new about Volva today.
Yeah, I started not too long ago, but these are, you think that seeing there, Lailama, this one and the little portal behind me there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, right.
That
So I
looks,
do that
wow.
sometimes in the morning. So that helps me just have fun, like some outside work, something else totally unrelated. Or I can just listen to a podcast. That's my morning. Like, and then I can go back to computer. Also, I have tasks that I write down on my, now let me show you, to-do list. It really looks weird, but because I did some, I don't know, let's see if we can focus on that. Okay, so
Yeah.
there's there's some stuff that I just, but we have here today's goals,
Hmm.
right? That's it. I have a few goals for like 3 goals. Like let's say finish ManyChat flow, finish project with the photographer, upload 2 videos to YouTube. I set them either in the morning or the day before, and then I work on them. If I have a good day, that means I worked on them and I didn't get distracted, which happens sometimes when I just remember that I need to do something.
Yeah.
But I tend to finish the goals. If I don't finish the goal, I will then pass it to the next day, and then it's gonna get finished in the next few days. That's pretty much what I do. And so that's pretty much throughout the day. 5 p.m. I go workout, do some cardio. I read on the bike when I do bike cardio. I read the book.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like you can read a physical book, but it's a problem. You got to learn how to concentrate because there's music, there's people working out, and
I
you got
know.
to breathe, you got to spin the wheels, and you got to read. So, but it works for me. I don't know, maybe not for, it depends, but
I have to have like pin drop silence. Like oh gosh, like anyone drops pen somewhere, my focus is
yeah.
diverted.
It helps work on that too, on focus, like what I've
Yeah.
learned. So yeah, so and then maybe so like also before that there's a meal during the day, workout. Between these parts, I work usually. I do something on the computer, or I just paint, or I just talk to myself, just chill. Like what should I do? Like just thinking, like some ideas, and then I finish the workout. I will eat, and then last few hours I can work or just again do some random stuff. 9 p.m. I go read the book an hour or like take a shower, depends if it's after workout shower, but if not, then somewhere in the evening, read a book, go to sleep. What do you say? What do you do? Like
No, that's perfect. I kind of see the same pattern. Like you're setting goals for yourself daily. Do them. You're not here to conquer the entire world in one day. And that's kind of what we try to do. Like if I do extra, I'll be one step ahead tomorrow. No, consistency is key. Like whether that's working out, whether that's your business, consistency is key. Like that's how you're going to get results. Do whatever you think is achievable within a day and just focus on that for the day. You don't have to do anything more. Try to get that done and that should be enough. Like I kind of do the same thing. I give myself time in between. I'll go like meditate in between if I feel that I can't focus. That helps me focus my thought. Like our brains aren't meant to be multitasking. So if you feel that you're doing that, go take a 15-minute break, like meditate. I use the Calm app. I love it. Like guided meditation works best for me. And, just, like plug out of the world, 15 minutes, focus, and then come back. And you're like, I don't know if you've ever tried it, but like you come out of it with this weird calming sensation and everything's just a lot quieter. You can literally hear background noises after you've like practiced meditation for some time. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in this quiet space. My mind is not going bonkers thinking about a million things. And now I am going to do that one task that I have set for the next hour, let's say. Yeah, tried and tested strategies, everyone, like what I've learned, like from everyone who's successful, like this is what everybody's doing. Just focus on one thing at a time. The email thing was very I resonated with that so much because like I can go into Slack and start answering messages and I want to be responsive and go into my emails, but that 1 hour, whatever you're working on, maybe don't do that, do it in the next hour. That's the hour that I will answer my emails or whatever. Ideally, I like to do it like in between that 30-40 minutes that I find myself after I finish a task. I'm like, okay, now I can answer everyone. And all of those emails have accumulated. So I'm like, I'll do that at once.
Interesting. And how do you think, like, it sounds, to me, it makes sense, right? I pretty much do the same things and it seems like we're similar in how we run the day. Now, my next question is, how can we improve in that? Like, because sometimes, at least for me, I still tend to, just go out and while I'm doing a task and I know that I need to do this task, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to work now on task number 2. And then I'm randomly going to go to my YouTube channel and then check out my analytics. Like, how do I, based on your experience, maybe, how can I improve in actually, I guess, being more, what's the word for that? Like
disciplined,
exactly. How do we develop discipline for that? Because it requires some sort of discipline, I think, right?
It definitely does. Focusing on one thing, like you're not doing anything bad, but you still need to be disciplined to
Yeah,
focus on
like
that one thing and do
yeah.
it productively. Like I said, like you can do so many tasks and not get anything done by the end of the day. And I think for me, what I have like a threshold. And after that, I'm like, you know what? You've slacked off enough, or you've been very like unfocused or whatever. It's time to change. Like for that's I hit my
Mm.
threshold, and I'm like, that happens every couple of months or so. I'm like, this has been really bad. You've been slacking off work, or you've been very unfocused. So I just tell myself, like,
Uh-huh.
be disciplined.
But yeah.
I don't care. Like, it's
Mm.
like a self-talk. I'm like
Yeah.
telling myself, like a coach or something, like,
Yeah.
get back to work 1 hour. And after this 1 hour of whatever you're going to do, take a break. But that 1 hour should just solely be for this task. So I kind of, and I use the same strategy for working out. Like, let's say every summers, we only get like 3 months of summer, and I have to like get back into running. So the entire year I haven't ran. And now again, I'm like into cardio, and I'm like, this is hard.
Ah.
How do I do that? But I'm like, okay, you know what? Run for another 15 minutes. And if you hate it, then stop. So I'll give myself that time limit, essentially, like focus for this time limit, and then you're free to go. So I do it, and it's not so bad. And you kind of get into it. You either get the runner's high, or let's say you're working, you get into it, because 15 hours of like focused work, things start to make sense and
Mm-hmm,
things start coming together.
True.
So that
True.
motivates you into putting maybe like another 15 to 30 minutes into it. And then I'm just like, okay, when I hit that point where I'm like, I'm done with this task or this run, I will take a break, because I'm not trying to do a 10K within one day, but it's time to sign off. I'll try again tomorrow. How about you? Like, do you find yourself doing these kind of self-talks, or how do you get yourself back on track, essentially?
Right. So I think it's self-awareness. Like I think that's what you mentioned initially. You hit a threshold. Like you're like, okay,
Yeah.
here I am. Like I don't want this. I feel like, let's say I don't want this. Let's say it can be whatever. It can be unproductiveness. I feel like I'm unproductive, and I really honestly want to be productive. You're really with yourself, right? Okay, I'm really unproductive. Like I've been slacking. I've been watching these emails, and then I've been, like going back to talking with the supplier instead of focusing on, let's say, the tasks that I really want to do. So first, I understand that at least I have some real reason to do these things, like to do these goals. For me, it's fun. Like it helps me reach my bigger goals. I really want to help people on a large scale. And from that, I get to doing things like videos, or let's say creating businesses. That's what motivates me. So that's much easier when you have a bigger goal, right? I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but for me, it's just much easier. Every day is fun because I have it's called BHAGs, BHAG. Have you heard that? Big, hairy, audacious goals. It's called. I think it's from
no.
a book called Built to Last, right? Built to Last. That's the name.
Okay.
And so when I have a bigger goal, that it took me a while to understand that I do have this big goal by self-talk and understanding who the hell I am, what do I want to do in life. And what I found, when you find this thing, life gets much easier, because then it's like it's far. It's like tens of years maybe from where I am. And then like every day is easy. But then when I am slacking on whatever I need to do, then I understand, okay, I really want to do things. Like, why am I not doing them? Okay, I'm not doing them. I am not disciplined. I'm open with myself, sort of, I'm not disciplined. Like, what can I do? And then, all right, so at least what helps me with being disciplined is consistency, right? So as you mentioned with the running, maybe the first runs are going to be harder. This is just the human body, human brain, perhaps. And then it just gets easier. Like when I started going to the gym, I think it was harder. Now it's like part of me. I cannot go to the gym. I really enjoy it. So it's pretty much the same with these goals. Like I think some people will see this weird maybe notebook of mine and say like, every day you're writing these things, man, come on, go enjoy life or something. And I'm saying like, well, I'm enjoying life. That's my life. I like it. And then I just start again. If I'm slacking, I start again, like on getting back on track. And it's enjoyable once you are actually doing that. And as you mentioned, once you get into this focus work after 15 minutes, maybe it's different. Like it's like, you feel like different. Like it's in the same, like you're in the gym. You're maybe in the beginning, it's you're a bit sore, and then like you're crushing it. You're just whoa, like very
It's
good
a
feeling.
different mindset.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then
Um,
yeah, so that's it pretty much.
yeah, that's interesting because, I just wanted to add on to this
Yeah.
thought of I read this book called Atomic Habits, and they're
Mm.
talking about making something as part of your identity. And that's kind of what you said, like that's me every day now, it's a part of me. And
Mm.
so when you say, okay, I am an Amazon seller, you're still getting your business together, or maybe you're still trying to make that 10K or 20K run. You're like, I'm a runner. You put it as part of your identity.
Mm.
And now to prove to yourself that this is part of my identity, you're going to start working on it. And that can really push you into building that habit for yourself and to be more focused and to be more like good at it. So that's another thing that worked out for me. Like, put it as part of my identity. Now I'm going to be like, how am I calling myself this if I'm not able to even
Wow.
do the bare minimum? So yeah, that's another hack that I use,
Yeah.
of like trying to trick myself into getting things done.
And Lailama, okay, so we get things done. Let's say we understand, we even set identities to ourselves and we do follow them. Maybe we have bigger goals and all this. And one of the topics that we mentioned is like how not to overwork. But when do we know that we've overworked? Maybe even with all these things done right,
Yeah.
we can still is this a feeling overwork, or is it a physical feeling, or is it in your mind? I think it's different for people, but what is it for you?
I think everybody has like a limit on how much they can work. And that is so individual based,
All right.
so different for everyone. For me, it's 4 to 6 hours. I can't work more than that. I will work more than that. And the next day, it's going to be either a mental block or I'm going to feel mentally drained. So, like, you could be 8 to 10 hours. Someone could just be like 4 hours, and just accepting that is my limit. This is how much I can do within a day to be productive, and accept it and just make the best out of that time. So if you're going into work or your business day in and day out, you're mentally exhausted, you feel drained. It's more of a mental feeling for me. And
Mhm.
even it will impact you physically. Your performance with everything kind of drops, whether that's your social
Mm.
life or your fitness abilities. Everything drops for you, and
Mhm.
that to me is like a sign of overworking yourself. And I can't give a certain time, like a
Mm.
number, like a magic
Yeah.
number, work this amount of hours, because everyone's so different. But I guess these are the signs of you overworking yourself if you're experiencing all of that.
Yeah, let's say you see that I can relate to, let's say, the social part. I'm an introverted person, as I am generally. I've learned to be more, how you call it, extroverted, just because I was interested in how it feels. I was really like, when I was a kid, I was playing a lot of computers and like I just did that all day long. But I'm saying that there's introverted, but there is like unsocial,
Yeah.
and we are social beings. We gotta talk to others, even the introverts, like, right?
Oh yeah.
So for me, when I feel like, it's hard to explain, but it feels like I've been working a lot, creating, and it's fun, but I have neglected the social part,
Hmm.
and then it's just weird. Like, I don't know. I just, it feels like it feels weird, right? So it helps to, in order not to get overworked. I understand we have to socialize more, right? I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, each one, somebody needs like a lot of socialization, right? Somebody needs less, but still, once we lose that to a strong level, it's not good, and it can happen because of work. I understand,
Yeah.
right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right, like that's what leads us into us being overworked. Is work is actually fun, because a lot of us are doing this because we
Mhm.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
like, and yes, it's fun, and yes, you can spend hours doing it. Like, I could spend hours doing
Yeah.
this work, it's so much fun. But am I going to be in that, will I have the capacity to run on this amount of hours the next month if I keep
Mm.
doing this, overworking myself? So you also have to kind of take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Like, will I be able to function like that in another month or 2 months? If you think that you're draining yourself of energy and that creativity that you need with this business or even in your daily life, just that to me is an indication like you need to work less, focus on other aspects of your life. We are social beings, like you said. And even if you're introverted, you still have to go out and
Yeah.
connect with people.
And how do you recharge? Let's say it's somehow still overworked yourself, or generally, how do you recharge? Like, let's say you have gotten to a point where like, okay, I'm tired. I've been working a lot, and or I just want to recharge. How do you do that? Is it a practice that you're doing daily, weekly? How do you recharge?
There's several ways for me to do that.
Cool.
One's working out. Like it just makes me feel so much better. I think it's the release of endorphins that,
Mhm.
gives you that,
Yes.
makes you happy just in general. So it's working out or reading. I love reading books. So it could be just taking out like 1 or 2 hours and reading a book. Or it could also be going out and meeting my friends, like there's so many different ways to recharge. And I think, again, everyone's very different, but this is what makes me feel the best. Or like being outdoors, the weather
Being
allows it. I'm
outdoors.
going to be outdoors. I'm going to be, I don't know, maybe even just walking around or reading outside, but that's my way of recharging.
Yeah, I'd say that like for me, recharging specifically outside, because indoors, like I work indoors, like it's a computer
Yeah.
here. I can go to a coffee shop, but still like indoors. Outside there's air, there's the
Yeah.
sky, there's the sun. Okay, that's really important. Even I know in Canada you have like limited time of, but you still have the sun, right? Like even or
Yeah.
right?
It's funny because sometimes you'll see people sitting by their windows,
Yeah.
sunbathing. And I do that. I take the sun through indoors because it's so
Yeah.
cold. Outside, it's like 30 kilometers
Ah.
of wind and it would be like minus
Oh.
20. But in our
Oh.
region, you still get like some sun. So like everybody's like deficient in vitamin D. But we've come up with ways to get our sun. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it helps to get sun, to get air,
Yeah.
breathe, breathing techniques, right? So like we just
Oh
some
yeah.
people breathe through the mouth all the time. Not judging, but from experience, it's good to from the nose you inhale, from the mouth you exhale. And if you are aware of your breath, not all the day maybe, the more you are is better, because sometimes we work, we forget to breathe. Like we do breathe, the body does it, like like our
Yeah.
heart works, our breath system also works. But if we're aware of breathing, we can breathe deeply and through the nose, exhale through the mouth. We can even hold, there's like this technique 444, like 4 seconds you're inhaling, 4 seconds you're holding the air,
Yeah.
and 4 seconds you're exhaling. Do that extend. I guarantee everyone who's listening, you'll feel a bit more relaxed. So if you integrate that into a daily practice, really daily practice, like being aware of your breath, super cool. This helped me too. And I would say that going out for me for a long walk, so a long, I'm talking like about an hour,
Yeah.
without a phone, without even listening to podcasts, just me walking and thinking and looking
Being aware
around.
of your environment,
Mm,
taking in what's around
yes.
you.
Yes, even the small
Uh,
things like touching
yeah,
flowers. I don't know. Like some people
yeah.
hug trees. I'm still not on that level, but I
No,
it's all
I'll
right. Like
smell flowers on my way. Like,
or some
what is the
flowers.
scent of this
It's cool.
flower?
Like this world is here for us. Arguably, maybe we are here for the world. I don't know, but you can still enjoy like the little things, right? Go smell flowers. They smell so nice, and it sometimes when we are really aware of that, it's so cool, right? Or go and just throw some stones around. I don't know, just pick them, like touch the ground, walk bare feet on the ground. Also helps really. So
Yeah,
like I would say it helps to connect more to the world outside of the computer itself. So it's also people, but also the nature. Yeah, you can even look at the sky. When you look at the sky, it's magically, I don't know, it's like a magic pill. You just look at the sky. I don't know, instantly something happens in the body. I don't know. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but I
no,
just feel that. You know what I mean?
no, I can resonate right now. It's crazy because I do these things on a daily basis, but I did not even think to mention this. You're
Hmm.
actually breaking it down in like breathing techniques. Like I wasn't as aware of my body. So when I got into yoga, especially
Hmm.
yin yoga, and that really made me aware of what my body's feeling. Like there's so many times when we're working and our, fists are clenched or our teeth are clenched
Wow.
and there's
Yes.
tension in our body. But with the practice, you realize, oh, wait, my body's tensed. Whereas,
Wow.
like maybe 5 years from now, I wouldn't even know, but it's tensed. I need to relax it. And these little things can really decrease your cortisol levels like on a daily basis. And it adds up like all these years. Imagine just like working with your, like if you're an anxious person like me, you're just working with your fists clenched or
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
anxious, there's like anxiousness in your stomach or whatever. But these
Hmm.
breathing exercises really help. Like
Hmm.
I didn't even think to mention these things, but yeah, this is a daily practice for me too, to be less stressed and meant for more mental clarity, right? And yeah, I look at the sky and I'm like, wow, the sunset's beautiful every day. I'm like, I find myself pointing at the sunset or sunrise. And yeah, you just have to like find the little joys in life. And now we're like maybe digressing and getting into like a very philosophical thing, but that's how you find happiness. Like if you're easily impressed and easily become happy with things, like that's, I don't know, that for me just makes life so much more enjoyable. And I find myself being happy at everything. I'm not like picky about, no, I want this particular thing and then I will be happy. I never place conditions on these kind of things. But yeah, this is a bit of a digression from our topic, but I guess it helps, you know.
I don't know if it's a digression. Like we talked initially about how not to be overworked, and this is the, if we got overworked or how to not get, this helps. Like if you are practicing these things daily, probably you will even have more energy to cope with more work. Here's another thing, like because you are aware of your body, because you're aware of your breathing, because you're actually going outside, you are like a superhuman or something, in terms of like you are really friends with your environment and body. And then you can take more work without feeling overworked. And when you do, you feel okay. So it's all kind of connected. And I would also add something, that it's the way we talk to ourselves, so, and to others too. And if we see that in our speech, the word, let's say, I'm angry. Yeah, I'm angry, man. Like, girl, I'm angry. Angry. Here and there. Or maybe,
you got it right.
Yeah, maybe you're an angry person. But if you're aware, like, okay, I understand and hear my own speech, and then I hear the word, I'm lazy. Yeah, I'm lazy. Oh, I'm a lazy person. Or that's all right. I'm not judging. But do you want to be a lazy person? Yes. Okay, you're winning in life. Perfect. You figured it out. You want to be, or you want to be super productive. You want to, and you're doing that. You're happy, you're enjoying it. Got it. But it's, the problem is when you're not aware, like you want to be, let's say, oh, I want to be financially free and I want to make money online. This is from talks I have with people. I want to make money online, man. I see what you're doing and I respect the hustle. I'm like, yeah, thanks, bro. Like, I want to do that. But I'm lazy. You can still theoretically be lazy and be successful in doing a lot of things, but it's gonna be probably hard in a way, or like you're saying,
a lot of friction there.
I want to travel the world and be free and see all these countries, but I'm a stubborn person. It's inside the head is going to be a battle, right? Between one that wants freedom and the other one that says the other thing. So we can work on our speech. We can understand, okay, I want to be free. And I'm saying that I'm stubborn, I think, or like I'm stubborn, I think, or is it the right word? Like, so how can I be free if I'm stubborn? Okay, that doesn't make sense. So maybe, why did I give myself this tag that I'm stubborn? It's like we mentioned, Lailama, you've mentioned, like we give ourselves like sort of tags. We say like, I am this and that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with our personality. We say that, like I say that I connect easily with people. I love people. I love talking to people. I really enjoy listening to people. If I would say the opposite, I don't like people. I don't like listening. Like, so then I,
you start believing it and you start acting it. So just and then it goes back to also, like, if you hear yourself saying, I want to do this, okay, what steps are you taking to eventually achieve that? And I think there's also that joy that needs to be found in the day-to-day tasks. Like, you didn't become this Amazon seller in one day. You didn't say, hey, I'm going to be that, and just became it. You set mini goals, like maybe you set like daily, weekly, monthly goals, whatever that looked like, and you enjoyed that process. It must have been hard, but there's also that you need to take joy in like the day-to-day struggles as well to get that. You can't just hate the process and want the results. And I hear that a lot at the gym too, like, I want to be this particular way. Like, no, just like the process, turn it into a lifestyle for yourself. How do I incorporate it into a daily lifestyle for myself? And then it becomes it. Like, eventually you get the result. You can't hate the process and just want the results. It's not going to work out. There's, like you said, there's like that friction, that battle, internal battle going on.
How do we learn to like the process, or to love the process even? How can we, let's say you are doing yoga, right?
Yeah.
And then how did you get to like it? Like by repeat? I
Yeah.
think we talked about that, but we talked about repeating something.
Yeah,
But aside of that, how did
I
you get to
was
like? Yeah.
I enjoy high intensity workouts. So like that slowing down was so hard for me, you know? How do I like it?
Interesting.
I want to be less anxious. I want to
Ah.
build a certain kind of mobility within my body. And for that, I need yin yoga. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep practicing it and I'm going to enjoy that moment. It's just like telling yourself, like, stop hating this process. You know, I know easier said than
Ah.
done, but that's kind of what I did. Like,
Yes.
if I want to get there, then I have to like this process because I can't be dreading it every day and still practice it. And when you say these things to yourself, you become convinced, okay, I like it, you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
not too bad. And every day becomes easier and easier. And I think it also like you must really want something
It
in
helps.
order to achieve it, because then you're okay with the struggles that come along
Yes.
with it. It's not just rainbows and butterflies with any journey. And for like you became an Amazon seller, I bet that's what you wanted, right? Like you can't say I want to be this so and so figure Amazon seller and God, I hate it, but I want to be that because I want to be rich. That can't be the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal will be I want to be a seller, not just being rich. You know, like
Mm.
people focus a lot on the monetary thing, but you have to also find a way that you like to get to that goal of
Mm-hmm.
monetary gain. You can't hate selling on Amazon and then, want that gain out of it.
I agree with you. Yes, and
Yeah.
I think we talked about this before that you have like some bigger vision, and from there you go back. Let's say for me, it was like I've traveled the world for 1 year after like my military service. I traveled for 3 years. I'm sorry, I've traveled for a year. I did 3 years of military actually, and then I've discovered like intense levels of freedom. Like I had a backpack, I had no
Oh,
job, I
wow.
had a little money in my bank. And that's it. I was just traveling, and I didn't have any plans. I had one ticket from Tel Aviv to New Delhi, and after a year, I had a ticket from Bangkok to Tel Aviv.
Oh,
That's it.
wow.
I never knew what's gonna happen. I had some plans,
Yeah.
but in this travel, I've learned many skills, such as my spontaneous COT. How you say this? My levels of
Spontaneity.
being
Yeah.
spontaneous, like are through
Yeah.
the roof these days, and I'm super happy because of the travels. Because then I could, hey, do you want to join us for a jeep travel for like 5 days in this valley? Yeah, let's go, guys. You sound cool. Like,
Jump on the opportunity. Yeah.
but what
I
I'm
like
saying
that.
is at that point I understood my big value for loving to live the free life, being a boss to myself. I didn't understand it all my life. I guess maybe there were some kind of hints, but then this travel opened many things to me, and then I understood. And then based on these values, I came to a conclusion that I need an online business. And then what online business? I tried different things. I actually have an Instagram page that is inactive since 2015, where it's called Gym Hacks Free or something like that, where I showed like different ways of doing different exercise in the gym. So I tried different things, and then I got to the vehicle of Amazon. So, but based
Right.
on what I wanted, what kind of lifestyle did I want? Okay, so that made it really easier. And then I came to bigger goals and stuff like that. So, like, it's a process. And Lailama also wanted to mention that something that really helps with all these things is giving ourselves the permission to do XYZ or to be XYZ. Sometimes because childhood, because our friends, because us, maybe you hear that from people. No, I can't do that. Like, it's not me. Like, I can't. No, but I can't. Like, so do you want to travel for a year? Ask people. Would you like to try that? Yeah, that sounds cool, man, but I can't. Look, yeah, tell me. You're saying you can't. What makes you say that? Well,
Yeah.
because and this and this and that. And then if you'll give yourself a permission, I give myself a permission to be spontaneous. I give myself a permission to, and then just enjoy, like. And then you
Yeah.
yourself, sometimes we just don't give ourselves the permission, because some weird reason, maybe because in the childhood our parents told us, or I'm not a psychologist, but whatever it goes back to. And then we are like, or sometimes we use in our language, we say, I must go to school. Oh, you really
Yeah.
must go to school? Or somebody told you must go to school, and then people are like, that's interesting. So again, we're going back in different ways from the topic. However,
There.
this again gives us, we're kind of sharing in like peace of mind hacks or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. It's there's so much to talk about on this subject. Like I could go for hours and hours, like because everything is like, how do I get to that, to get
Mm.
that? And like I think to sum it up,
Yeah.
like from what I'm hearing is because there's like, I see a lot of the same practices in my life as you're saying, but what led me there, how did I discover all these hacks, is reading about self-help or self-development books. Like, I just read these books. It gives me the knowledge. If it makes sense to me, I will do it. Like, that's how I get my knowledge, you know? Yeah, I think that outside knowledge, like there's school knowledge, everything you learn in your undergrad and everything, but this is like working on yourself on the side. So, which is why I kind of love this genre for reading. And this is how I came across all of these little tips and tricks to life. And I feel like you're kind of the same. Like you say you're reading this current book and it's falling into the same category. So that's another common ground that I see with how do you come across all of this, you know?
Yeah, self-help genre is good. Before we wrap it up, Lailama, maybe something that comes out of your head, a book recommendation for those who, again, something self-help that helped you, or any other book that you would recommend, actually, something that you right now feel like you would recommend after this talk, or whatever you feel like. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Atomic Habits by James Clear is a great one. If you want to, not a sponsor or anything, I'm not an influencer, but it's the book that helped me build the foundation for how do I build these good habits that I want to build in my life. I always recommend that if you want to build a habit, Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's like, I keep going back to that book if I want to build on a new habit.
Interesting. I have it still in my to read books that are laying in the room. I still haven't read, but I keep hearing that it's such a nice book. I bought it, and I guess I'll have to read it soon. So
this is your sign to read the book, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. That's really sounds like there's some good wisdom there, and I'm always happy to talk with people who share interesting wisdom or get it from books. Yeah, just thank you for being a guest today. It's really interesting talk. I really enjoyed it. We hopefully help people see how you can not overwork yourself, and if you do, understand that you did overwork yourself, and how to actually do your work in a way that won't get you overworked, and then how to work on your body. Wow, so many things. Hopefully it's going to be helpful. We would appreciate a like if it's helpful, a dislike if it's not. Anything is welcome. Yeah, well, anything else you would like to say before we finish the school podcast today?
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. I guess the takeaway is just like, don't be too hard on yourselves. You can't conquer everything in one day. Just one step at a time. Consistency is key.
Consistency is key. Yes, I agree. Hopefully we'll all have a great, happy lives, reach our goals, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you, Lailama. Thank you for being a guest. Appreciate it.
Thank you.